Welcome back to our Health, Safety and Environment channel. Safety on the construction site Part 4. Tension on the site. Your first mistake could be the last. Slips, trips and falls. Slips, trips and falls can happen in almost any environment. As construction sites often have uneven terrain, buildings at various stages of completion, and unused materials on site, it is unsurprising that slips, trips and falls are a common hazard. HSE reports that several thousand construction workers are injured every year following a slip or trip, and that most of these could be avoided by effectively managing working areas and access routes, such as stairwells and footpaths. Those in control of construction sites must effectively manage the site so that workers can move around it safely. Risks should always be reported and sorted to reduce the chances of injury. Some causes of slips and trips and how to prevent them include uneven surfaces. The risk of these can be reduced by providing walkways that are clearly designated as walkways, having good conditions underfoot, and being well lit. Obstacles. Instances of slipping and tripping over obstacles can be dramatically reduced by everyone keeping their work and storage areas tidy and designating specific areas for waste collection. Trailing cables. Cordless tools should be used where possible. If this is not possible, cables should be run at high levels. Wet or slippery surfaces. If a surface is slippery with mud, it should be treated with stone, and if it is slippery with ice, it should be treated with grit. Any areas that are slippery should be signposted, and footwear with a good grip should be worn. According to OSHA, the employer shall provide a training program for each employee who might be exposed to fall hazards. The program shall enable each employee to recognize the hazards of falling and shall train each employee in the procedures to be followed in order to minimize these hazards. Maintain general site housekeeping and ensure materials, equipment, tools and extension cords do not create trip and fall hazards. Do not store any items that can become trip hazards in walkways, aisles or hallways. For trip and fall hazards that can't be immediately resolved, ensure there are adequate barricades and warning signs in place. According to OSHA, during the course of construction, alteration or repairs, form and scrap lumber with protruding nails and all other debris shall be kept cleared from work areas, passageways and stairs in and around buildings or other structures. Floor holes are one of the most common trip and fall hazards found in construction areas. OSHA defines a hole as a gap or void, 2 inches or more in its least dimension, in a floor, roof, or other walking or working surface. According to OSHA, each employee on a walking or working surface shall be protected from tripping in or stepping into or through holes, including skylights, by covers. The holes must be guarded or protected by guardrails, covers, and other conventional fall protection methods. Walking and working areas, including rooftops, should be inspected for potential floor holes, as well as skylights, to prevent falls. When floor holes must remain at the site for any period of time, they can be covered with durable material and marked with cover or hole to warn workers of the hazard. According to OSHA, employees shall always stand firmly on the floor of the basket and shall not sit or climb on the edge of the basket or use planks, ladders or other devices for a work position. Workers on elevated platforms, such as aerial or boom lifts, shall ensure personal fall arrest system is always worn. Always inspect fall arrest equipment before use each time. According to OSHA, stairways having 4 or more risers or rising more than 30 inches, whichever is less, shall be equipped with at least 1 handrail. Never carry items in your hands while ascending or descending a ladder. Add temporary stair rails to stairways that are still under construction to ensure construction workers and other visitors to the construction site can climb the stairs safely if needed. Properly barricade or remove from service any ladders, stairways or climbing structures that are not yet completed or not safe to use. Noise. Construction is noisy, and as a result, noise is a common construction hazard. Loud, repetitive, and excessive noise causes long-term hearing problems, such as deafness. Noise can also be a dangerous distraction and may distract the worker from the task at hand, which can cause accidents. It is the employer's responsibility to carry out a comprehensive noise risk assessment and provide appropriate PPE where necessary. Hearing Conservation Program. Hearing conservation programs strive to prevent initial occupational hearing loss, preserve and protect remaining hearing, and equip workers with the knowledge and hearing protection devices necessary to safeguard themselves. Employers are required to measure noise levels, provide free annual hearing exams, hearing protection and training, and conduct evaluations of the adequacy of the hearing protectors in use, unless changes made to tools, equipment, and schedules result in worker noise exposure levels that are less than the 85 decibels. Research indicates that workplaces with appropriate and effective hearing conservation programs have higher levels of worker productivity and a lower incidence of absenteeism. Hand-arm vibration syndrome. Hand-arm vibration syndrome, HAVS, is a painful and debilitating disease of the blood vessels, nerves, and joints. It is usually caused by the prolonged use of handheld power tools, including vibratory power tools and ground working equipment. HAVS is preventable. However, once the damage is done, it is permanent. HSE reports that nearly 2 million people are at risk of developing HAVS. Damage from the disease can include the inability to do fine work, and cold temperatures can trigger painful attacks in the fingers. Construction workers should be given appropriate protection when using vibrating tools, and equipment should be well maintained. Any kind of vibrating tool can result in hand-arm vibration, and longer exposure can increase the risk of developing HAVS, experts say. Tools that have been linked to hand-arm vibration include grinders, riveters, drills, jackhammers, chainsaws. These tools can cause hand-arm vibration regardless of whether their power source is electricity, gasoline, or air. Hand-arm vibration syndrome can take 6 months to 6 years to develop, and after the fingers blanch, the condition is irreversible, according to NIOSH biomechanical engineer Daniel Welcome. How can workers be protected? Experts advise the use of anti- or low-vibration tools that are appropriate for the job. David Rimpel, professor of bioengineering at the University of California, Berkeley, recommends employers purchase tools with lower handle vibration and reduce the hours of exposure per day. Other measures also can help. Wasserman and colleagues identified 8 good work practices originally shared in the American Society of Safety Engineers Professional Safety Journal. 1. Keep the hands warm. 2. Refrain from smoking. 3. Grip the tool as lightly as possible. 4. Keep the tool well maintained. 5. Keep cold exhaust air from pneumatic tools away from the hands. 6. Take breaks from working with tools. Rest for at least 10 minutes per hour. 7. Use gloves that cover the fingers and are certified by ISO 10819. 8. Seek medical attention if HAVS symptoms appear. One of the simplest work practices is holding the tool with only the amount of force that's required to keep it safely under control. Material and manual handling. Materials and equipment are constantly being lifted and moved around construction sites, whether this be manually or by equipment. Either way, handling carries a degree of risk. Where duties involve manual handling, adequate training must be provided. If an employee is required to use lifting equipment, they must be trained in how to use this, and a test should be taken to check their ability to use the equipment safely. What should your employees know before moving, handling, and storing materials? Handling and storing materials involve diverse operations, such as hoisting tons of steel with a crane, driving a truck loaded with concrete blocks, carrying bags or materials manually, and stacking palletized bricks or other materials such as drums, barrels, kegs, and lumber. The efficient handling and storing of materials are vital to industry. In addition to raw materials, these operations provide a continuous flow of parts and assemblies through the workplace and ensure that materials are available when needed. Unfortunately, the improper handling and storing of materials often result in costly injuries. Whether moving materials manually or mechanically, your employees should know and understand the potential hazards associated with the task at hand and how to control their workplaces to minimize the danger. Employers and employees should examine their workplaces to detect any unsafe or unhealthful conditions, practices, or equipment and take corrective action. What are the potential hazards for workers? Workers frequently cite the weight and bulkiness of objects that they lift as major contributing factors to their injuries. In 1999, for example, more than 420,000 workplace accidents resulted in back injuries. Bending, followed by twisting and turning, were the more commonly cited movements that caused back injuries. Other hazards include falling objects, improperly stacked materials, and various types of equipment. You should make your employees aware of potential injuries that can occur when manually moving materials, including the following: strains and sprains from lifting loads improperly or from carrying loads that are either too large or too heavy; fractures and bruises caused by being struck by materials or by being caught in pinch points; and cuts and bruises caused by falling materials that have been improperly stored or by incorrectly cutting ties or other securing devices. If you liked this video, do not forget to press the like button, share and subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to be notified for the new videos available. Welcome to the next video.